This will be some of the most important information you've ever came across in your life. I want to start by asking you a question. When you were younger, did you ever hear that storks delivered babies? And did you ever wonder why people would even be questioning where babies came from?
One night I was called on the telephone and I was told to go to a certain address. I just got in the car and went there. And I'm going to tell you all something. I walked into what looked like a normal building, but when I got inside this building, I'd never seen anything like that inside, because all along the top of the building, on the upper rows, it seemed like invention after invention after invention after invention, and it went on and on and on.
You could see the double-headed god with the key. This is all about doorways and portals. Janus. This is where the word janitor comes from. And what is a janitor known for? Having all the keys. This goes back to ancient Samaria, double-headed faces. Here's the Shamash tablet, 8-pointed star right here, which was the gateway. This is where the gods could travel through this portal, the Polaris portal. CERN also has the 8-pointed star of Polaris, and they're the ones opening up the portals, just like in the show Stranger Things. All right, so this is going to get wild, everybody, so buckle your seatbelts.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Highly Motivated. I'm your host, Renee. I had a really hard time narrowing down what I wanted to put into this video. So needless to say, we are going to be diving into some really interesting rabbit holes. Without further ado, let's get started. For our first video, we will be hearing about Leviathan.
We hear a lot about giants, but not so much about what goes bump in the sea. There was an issue off the Pacific that I think started off this whole UAP thing. Now, I'm not saying that's a Leviathan, but it's a Leviathan. Now, this is off of the coast of California. You see this big thing over here? There was something that happened over the summer in the Pacific that sort of set off the whole UAP thing, and not a lot of people are talking about it. And there's a lot of distractions, and I think that they're trying to move you guys off of what's going on in the ocean. The ocean is big, it's huge, and it's biblical. A lot of what happens is out there. We have 4 mentions of the Leviathan in the Bible. Job, Book of Isaiah, and a few other spots. Now, not only do we have Leviathans to deal with, but we have giants. We have Nephilim. We have evidence coming out that can't be denied. And though they want to explain it away, and a lot of it is AI this, AI that, the truth can't be denied. And AI can't cover up what's on the walls. There was a time when giants roamed this earth. Nephilims. There was a time when ancient mythological creatures were real. This is real history that they try to get you to think is not real. And it's all in the Bible. There was also talk of soldiers running into Nephilim giants. Now, I'm not saying the giants aren't a problem, especially when we now realize that everything that we've been taught is a lie and mythological history is true. But what needs to be said, and what's super important, is that not only is it true, but the Bible has affirmed this. Repeatedly affirmed it. As I stated, we have Leviathan mentioned in 4 places in the Bible. These are mythological creatures that should not exist. And over the summer, there was an incident that happened in the ocean of the Pacific that got them to think, wait a minute, things are ramping up. They're catching UAPs coming out. They're catching things, they're frosting. And again, this is for entertainment purposes. This is just down the rabbit hole. I have no proof, no evidence, but I would suggest you look into it yourself. These are the verses.
You have the number one authority. You have the Bible.
You can jot them down if you want. So while you worry about giants and all the talk of all this UAP and stuff like that, we have to realize that the ocean is a very real and scary place. and has not been explored that much. And there are things down there, real things, that are fossilized, that are petrified, and you're going to say, well, how can that happen under the water? Well, things can happen dramatically if they happen quick. We know this. So while you may think that this thing is not a petrified dragon, I would maybe, and I'm not saying it is, could be just a very coincidental rock formation. But the more things melt, the more we discover. Euphrates is dried up. We got 4 tunnels. There's talk that they have a Nephilim giant in the Atlantic, down where we're not allowed to go. Things have started to melt, and this thing is spewing pure evil. Satan's real. The enemy's real. Jesus is real. The Bible's real. It's all real. It's all right there in front of you.
Yes.
There's a way out if you choose Jesus. If not, you'll have a seat for however long it is. God bless you guys. Peace.
Amen. If you think about it, a Leviathan would, if they found the bones for a Leviathan, it would be called a dinosaur today. And so they probably have found bones of Leviathans. They're not going to tell us that, much like they hid the bones of the giants, right? And I do believe that pre-flood, humans were also bigger. And so I think that some of the larger bones that have been found are not actually Nephilim, but just the larger humans from the past. And I kind of believe that the Nephilim would have been more of a deformed, like this, where you get the idea of a cyclops and things like that. And then they mentioned the water, and there are marine spirits in the Bible. They talk of it or speak of it as the deep. So yeah, I mean, it's very real. Leviathan is very real. If he's mentioned in the Bible, I believe it.
This will be some of the most important information you've ever came across in your life. I want to start by asking you a question. When you were younger, did you ever hear that storks delivered babies? And did you ever wonder why people would even be questioning where babies came from? I had a discussion with my dad last night about this topic. I want to play a short clip of what he said about storks delivering babies.
Even as a child, I remember coming up and hearing about storks delivering babies through movies or through, I don't know if it's through books, but it was never taken as serious. I thought it was just a way for parents to say that's where babies come from instead of the parents.
Most of us probably thought something like what he just said. The
Right.
truth is revealed in movies and TV shows. I want to show you a clip from a movie made by Warner Bros. Studios released in 2016. Pay attention to what the stork says and what's going on in the background behind him.
It's an image as old as time. A baby swaddled in white, delivered by the stork. What you'll find here on Stork Mountain, we take baby delivery seriously. I'm here to finally unveil our new and improved human infant production facility. We have perfected and streamlined the process, devising a zero-mistake workflow. Trademark.
It may seem like it's just a made-up innocent children's movie, but it's about to get deeper. In order for you to really see the big picture, you have to understand that orphans and orphanages were a huge thing in the late 1800s and early 1900s. This is why there were so many orphan-themed movies that came out. What I'm about to show you next is the mind-blowing part that I was talking about. But before I show you, shameless plug, bookofhiddentruths.com if you guys want to learn how to see with your third eye for the first time in your life. Or you can click the orange series button that you see that red arrow pointing to below. It's a simple 4-minute meditation, less than 20 seconds after you complete the meditation. That there's a whole nother
Holy crap.
that mind-blowing. What makes this, it's only visible to our third eye. But let's get back to the video. Look, I want to show you some
Thanks.
clips from a video on the Mind Unveiled YouTube channel. If this video was just talking about the topic, it wouldn't be that mind-blowing. What makes this video so mind-blowing is the fact that he's showing real postcards from the late 1800s and early 1900s that he's collected. All of the postcards have babies on them. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, right? What's shocking is the words that the creators of the postcards had put on them and what some people that lived in those times were writing onto the postcards. This is the thumbnail to the video. On the left side of the thumbnail is one of the postcards with babies on them. It's in French. I translated what it says on that postcard into English, And this is what it said: babies for sale. With them you will have the best joys. This is an advertisement. They're advertising their product. He has a pile of postcards with babies on them, and the babies are all riding a train. One of the things that I thought of, if they were being sold, how are they being delivered? How did they get to people? This right here answers that question.
So this is the babies and trains category. It's not just cabbages. That's what's so fascinating. 1909, they also have these babies being shipped or transferred.
How many of you guys saw this Mind Unveiled episode? I did. And also, do you remember back in the past, you could ship children through the post office? Like, it was a thing.
On trains.
This is the next clip that I wanted to show you. I translated what that banner says, and that banner says, the baby farm.
Super cool. Yep, this is a baby farm. The farm of babies. Let's see. 1921 is the postmark.
Now I thought this one right here was interesting because it showed babies coming out of eggs, as if they want to convince people that babies may come from eggs. Keep in mind that they also showed babies growing from cabbage. This is where the whole idea of Cabbage Patch Kids came from.
So there's actually a lot more of these, but this is the only one that we have in our collection. Like a lot of them on a farm being incubated.
Here's a stack of postcards with babies and storks on them.
So yeah, this is the stork water baby category. Let's look at this one for a little bit longer. Go back to the front. Yeah, they're kind of all grouped up here. Very strange.
Of course, this video is just for entertainment purposes only, but out of all the cards that I saw, this card right here let me know, okay, it's real. It's not just a conspiracy theory. Look what this lady wrote on the back of this postcard.
This one is a crazy one. I probably already brought it up, but this is the one where on the back, it's basically saying to hurry up and make an order. Let me see if I can show you. What? Dear Elle, don't you think they are very pretty on the other side? If so, hurry up and order one before they all get sold.
She said hurry up and buy one before they all get sold. This would mean that some people are the descendants of manufactured babies. Another thing that I thought was interesting, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this. So in the Storks movie, there were all types of different races of babies that were being manufactured. But I went through the entire video. I saw all the postcards that he showed in his video, and I noticed there wasn't not one black baby on any of the postcards. My name is Moses. I create content that changes people's perspective on life and the world. You can go through my videos if you want to learn.
It kind of makes me wonder if that's where NPCs came from. I don't know. It is very weird. And that last postcard kind of gives the impression that the reverse of that postcard, those children are like things you can pick from, right? What do you guys think about this whole theory? I find it weird. I've heard people link it to blood types. But when they do that, like they think it's like O negative, but like I'm O negative. So that doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know. If they felt like they needed to say that this is entertainment only and not real, I'm going to go with that.
This is entertainment only TikTok. This isn't real.
We are summoning the demon.
What is a portal? Janus is this double-headed god, and it's the god of the doorways, and this is where January comes into play. This is Stonehenge. Aerial view, a key. The key opens the door to the portal. The Vatican, at Disneyland. Janus, you can see he has the key and the two faces. Here's Janus for January. This is for Aquarius. We're going into it. You can see the double-headed god with the key. This is all about doorways and portals. Janus. This is where the word janitor comes from. And what is a janitor known for? Having all the keys. This goes back to ancient Samaria, double-headed faces. Here's the Shamash tablet, 8-pointed star right here, which was the gateway. This is where the gods could travel through this portal, the Polaris portal. CERN also has the 8-pointed star of Polaris, and they're the ones opening up the portals, just like in the show Stranger Things. All right, so this is going to get wild, everybody, so buckle your seatbelts. Keys open doors. And you got the show Lock and Key, which is all about portals. The door is the portal, the Stargate. It is the Omega logo, the last event that will take place. Here's the Masonic compass with Polaris at the top. Here's the show Stargate right here. Here's the Stargate, the portal, and you got the 2 circles because that's how CERN is set up, with the 2 circles. 2001 Space Odyssey, you see that key. It's a tower with Polaris at the top. And I got this from Tommy Truthful's site, so shout out to him. Here you can see the Vatican key with Polaris, the 8-pointed star.
It never ends.
And the sun cross in the middle, which is for the 4 corners. And right in the middle of the 4 corners is the volcano that we see right here in Lord of the Rings, the volcano. This goes into Polaris, and it also goes into...
Could that possibly be what is attracting a compass to magnetic north?
Some sexual symbology as well. You see it here at Disneyland. Shout out to the One-on-One podcast. You can see that 8 and the key and the sun cross in the tower. Here's Hyperborea, the old map of the North Pole. You got the 4 corners, the sun cross. In the middle is the volcano. Here's Star Wars, Polaris right back here, and the 8 different points. Pretty wild because even Venus is connected to this, which is known as Lucifer. And Venus, every 8 years, makes a pentagram in the sky, as the rabbit hole is the portal going down the rabbit hole. Here's 2001 Space Odyssey, them going into the portal, Polaris star, and this is in all of Stanley Kubrick's films. Here's Edward Scissorhand. You got that key in there. The community down below, and at the top was the tower, like the Disney tower. So Wednesday is trending right now. The umbrella has 7 points because there's a secret society with 7 members in it, just like the Freemasonic compass has the G, which is the 7th letter, and it was released on the 23rd, the 23 Enigma. In the show, which was made by Tim Burton, who did Edward Scissorhand, who showed that key symbolism. Wednesday, which is named after Odin, which is Santa Claus. Wednesday was the key in the show. She was the key for the ritual. So this key symbolism goes deep.
Yeah.
Here's Las Vegas. Nobody has shown this. I believe this is the first channel to uncover symbols that are so deep in this. The 23 Enigma. There was a movie. Jim Carrey, Hollywood stars.
I remember that movie
about the number 23. Well, Las Vegas took place on the 32nd floor, which is 23 backwards. There's that key, that Polaris key symbolism right here. But look at the floor right here. It's the 8-pointed star right there, Polaris, with this Polaris key.
They can't help themselves.
And in the hotel, they show you the pillow. Well, even the pillow is the 8-pointed star.
Okay, and also, if you look out the window, what are you looking directly at? The pyramid.
Ishtar. Support us with a like and a share. We're going over the portal symbolism.
Crazy.
In the Addams Family Wednesday show, Wednesday's the key, and the key's connected to this whole Polaris portal. The top of the school has the Polaris right there. This is the top of the school. But Wednesday is Odin. Here's Odin right here, the one-eyed god. This is Wednesday. This is what Wednesday's named after. And you can see that same 8-pointed star right next to him. Janice in Eyes Wide Shut, the Stanley Kubrick film. The Anunnaki, Anu, was resembled as this 8-pointed star, going back to the Anunnaki, the sky god, the first sky god that we know about. The 8-pointed star is also in the marijuana leaf, believe it or not. I mean, I'm seeing this everywhere as we're coming up into the year of the rabbit, 2020.
The leaf is grown that way, and that would more likely link that to sacred geometry than that, but okay.
The bunny in the portal. Here's CERN, bunny in the portal, all about time. They use the symbolism a lot. Even Donnie Darko's about a bunny that travels through a portal. Wikipedia, you see that Omega logo as the key is the Omega logo as well. The Keystone Pipeline, St. Louis Gateway Arch as well. These are gateways. The door is a gateway. That's why it's designed like a gateway. The Royal Ark. The Keystone Pipeline happened on December 8th. That's a big ritual day. And this is when it started leaking in the middle of the country. Here's Polaris in the 4 corners for Polaris. Here's the Royal Arch, the keystone at the top of the arch. Right down here, Polaris, the 8-pointed star. But this 4-corner symbolism is connected to rituals. The day that music died, this was the poster they released before Buddy Holly died in the plane crash. And that's the day that music died. Just like Stranger Things, they got the 4 corners with the volcano in the middle. It's all the same symbolism. The 4 corners. Here's Public Enemy, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down. Their logo, Public Enemy, is the 4.
How many of you guys heard of that album? What are you gonna do when the grid goes down? Like, that's artistic, huh? Okay.
Corners. This image is at the 4 corners.
What the heck?
The Navajo Nation, when the grid goes down. Not only is Public Enemy showing this symbolism, but also the Rothschilds' Economist magazine shows the crypto downfall and all these asteroids landing in the 4 corners right here. And the 4 corners is where the veil is thinner. You got Skinwalker Ranch there. This is all over the world. It's not just here in America. Devil triangles all throughout the world where the veil is thinner. This symbol is also the Sun Cross or Hyperborea. And here's the Hopi Nation as well, has that same 4 corners. Much love, everybody, and God bless you.
That was a whole lot of symbolism, like, thrown at us all at once. Have you guys heard a lot of that? Most of that? Some of that? None of that? Was it all new to you? I want to know. Let me know in the comments.
One night I was called on the telephone and I was told to go to a certain address. I just got in the car and went there. And I'm going to tell you all something. I walked into what looked like a normal building, but when I got inside this building, I'd never seen like anything like that inside, because all along the top of the building on the upper rows, it seemed like invention after invention after invention after invention. And it went on and on and on. What was on that shelf were things like magnets that picked up gold coins, gasoline that was made from plants, green, which he called green gasoline, coils that I've never seen, almost like a Tesla coil, but much steeper angles, which were all resonant at a certain frequency. Paid very close attention to one thing. There was this chart, and it was basically laid out like this here. It had all these little lines like this on the chart, but it was huge. I started asking, what is this chart? And he said, well, go over there and look. And so I went over there, and it showed where time started on our time scale. And then it went on and on and on, and it got up into somewhere in here, and 2001 was about here. I was in 84, I was back here somewhere, and there were little pictures underneath the chart. And I know that most people are going to find this hard to believe, but all along this chart it said who the presidents were, whether they were assassinated or not assassinated, what the year was going to bring as far as food for the world, And when I got up here, it said that the world was in a chaotic condition, basically, at 2000. And it showed war and war and war and war and more war. It also showed that it named the presidents by name. It showed Reagan, it showed Carter, it showed Reagan, it showed George Bush Sr., and after that it showed Clinton. It said the Clinton years right in here somewhere. I was back here. How they knew even who the presidents were was a mystery to me. And when I asked him that question, he says, we know. We know who's going to be the president. And right around in here, he said, it showed a little picture and it showed two little towers. And it showed them on fire. But it showed war. It showed war from here on all the way to the end. And it said that time, it ended here for us. 2036 or 2034 or something. But it said it ended there. And
I find that interesting because a lot of biblical timelines point to around those years as the like end of the road of like when things have to take place by, as far as end times, judgment, the new heaven and the new earth. We don't know exactly, right? No one knows the day or the hour, but a lot of people have made some pretty good guesses as to the time frame we should be looking at.
it ended in disaster. There's nothing went on past that.
It's a spiritual war of good against evil, and I just hope that there's enough good in the world that we can rally together to defeat it, because if we don't, these monsters will destroy humanity.
Time mirrors are workable technology and have been since the 80s. The Calhoun Mouse Utopia experiments of the NIH estimated the death of the dead. Most of the research is still classified by the Department of Defense. We already know what happens in the end. God wins. Duh.
So here I am in Oregon, working on some windows for that house. But I've seen at the end of the cul-de-sac these gates down here. Dang it, they got a bunch of dogs. Look at that gate. Okay, so I was working at a house up the road a little bit when I looked down this direction and I seen these pyramids, mini pyramids.
That's normal.
And then this gate.
Oh yeah, that's normal too.
17700. What is this? Where does this go? More little mini pyramids. Wow.
What
Holy
takes place
moly,
behind
do you
those
guys
gates?
see that? They have signs. We do not call 911. I don't know what to feel about this place. But dude, guys, look through here. You guys see that statue? I am so creeped out by this place.
You should be.
What is that? Wow. I'm gonna have to look this place up. Huh. Sheesh, what a cool gate. People live here.
Yeah, what kind of people
Wow.
live there?
How awesome.
That's some interesting symbolism. What are you into? Do we want to know? Probably not. So when I'm reading through social media, I tend to see the theme that there are some people of the older generation that think that Gen Z and millennials are lazier, softer. We need to just pick ourselves up by our bootstraps and work hard and we'll be fine because that's what worked for them. And this is a really good video because she puts some numbers into perspective and it really shows how raw of a deal we have gotten in this generation. Prepare to have your mind blown, guys.
Boomers are stuck in the past and they can't accept that times have changed and hard work is not enough to make it anymore. They completely destroyed the economy for Gen Zs and millennials and now we're all just struggling to get by and I'm going to prove it to you today.
Now, I do want to preface this by saying I don't agree that any generation is in particular to blame for this. I think that's just another reason to or way to pit us against each other as people, right? Because how many of us truly had something to do with the way that things are right now? If you think about it, not one of us. So we're just living it, right?
Also proving that they weren't really working harder than us, they just had it easier. So if you saw my original video, we calculated the average cost of living and expenses nowadays for Gen Z and millennials. And this was the grand total. But today, using those exact same measurements, I'm going to calculate for you how much it would have cost a boomer to get by when they were our age. Again, just to prove that it's not that we're not working as hard as you, it's that you guys had it easier, so you didn't even actually have to work as hard as us. I did so much research, and I'm going to try and make this so easy for you all to understand so no one can screw it up this time. The comment I got a million times last time is, boomers weren't born in the 70s and 80s, that's Gen X, you're talking about Gen X. No, I'm not. I'm talking about boomers because someone born in the 70s is not in their 20s or 30s in the 70s as well. So let's define boomers. They're born between 1946 and 1964, which means they would have peaked around our age in the 70s and 80s. So stop telling me if I'm Gen Z, my parents have to be Gen X because my parents were born in the 50s and mind your own business. Not everyone has kids at 21, Cheryl. Today, in 2023, federal minimum wage is $7.25. Because I have a college degree, I made all of those calculations as $20 an hour, which is 2.8 times minimum wage. That's what you're getting in your 20s with a college degree. To start, I picked 1980s because it's peak 20s and 30s for the boomers. And it was easiest to find records for that. So in 1980, federal minimum wage was raised to $3.10. So if you take $3.10 and you multiply it by 2.8, because we're assuming everyone in this video went to college, so you're not making minimum wage, you're making $8.68 an hour. Now multiply that by 40 hours a week and 4 weeks out of the month. We're here, but now we have to calculate taxes out of this. I looked up historical tax rate documents and found it was about 9%. Multiply this by 9% and you get about $125, so we'll have to take that out. In 1980, here's what your take home is after taxes. Now we have to subtract your rent, and the average rent around 1980 was $200. But since average rent in my video was $2,000 and I only took out $1,500 because I found a deal, we're going to pretend that you found a good deal on rent too. Instead of $200 for rent and utilities, etc., you're paying $180. Yippee, you saved $20. Now you need to pay for food every month. And I found these awesome government websites that keep the historical prices of food over the years. And after looking through a bunch of data again, I found that food was about a third of the price that it is now. So if we were spending $20 a day for 1.5 meals, 20 times 0.3 is 6.6. 6.6 times 7 days a week times 4 weeks in the year is 184. Take 184 out of here, you're sitting at $900 left so far, but we're not done here. Referencing our original graph for college tuition and based off of the fact that you guys all claim you work super hard, if you worked a full-time job in the summer, you could afford to pay for college in full, which means you weren't taking out any student loans. So we don't really have to factor in student loans for this, or it would be like 10 or 20 bucks at most. I couldn't find much on car insurance, but given the inflation car insurance calculator, if I was paying 70 bucks a month, you were paying roughly $8 a month. Now we're here, but you gotta pay for gas as well. Here are the historical gas prices over time. A gallon was about 0.85 cents. Given the time, your car probably ran through more gas than mine, so we'll say you were getting 30 gallons a month, so 30 times 0.85 is 25 bucks. So we'll subtract 25 bucks. Now I'm paying 50 bucks for my life-saving medication, but it looked like insurance back in the day would have pretty much covered it, but for argument's sake, we'll knock off another 5 bucks, just to keep you happy. I said 50 bucks in 2023 for things like soap, tampons, laundry, all the other groceries you need. Overall, grocery prices were still about a third of the cost they are today. So 50 times 0.3 is 16.5.
Am I the only one who really appreciates how thorough she's being?
We'll take that off. Now we have to take out retirement savings, but it's confusing because back in the day they had these things called pensions, so there was less personal retirement savings, and I got very confused by it all. All I could find is that if you did want to personally save for retirement beyond that, the max you could do every year was $1,500. If you divide that by 12 months a year, you get $125 a month, which means your
wait a minute. A pension was the norm. Wow. It's nowhere near the norm.
Total for everything at the end of the month is this much money left over. Wait, so you're telling me I would have had this much money left over instead of this, doing the exact same things and work and hours if I was just living in 1980? But do you want to add even more insult to injury? Because I sure do. Let's do the inflation calculator. You know what the equivalent of having $720 left over at the end of every month would be in 2023? Almost $2,700 every month just to that's throwaway cash. That's what I call burn it cash. You could throw it in a bonfire for all you care.
Wipe your butt with it.
At the end of every year, boomers had $32,000 just laying around to do whatever they wanted with, doing literally nothing different that any of Gen Z is currently doing. And in an ironic twist, boomers call Gen Z and millennials lazy when it's really boomers who are lazy because they refuse to learn what's actually going on in the world.
Like I said, I don't really appreciate attacking another generation and like blaming it on them, because I think that we shouldn't allow ourselves to be pit against each other, period. I do find it really interesting when you put all those numbers into perspective. It didn't happen all at once, though, right? It was the slow boil, like frogs, right? Otherwise, people would have been mad if these things happened all at once. Our next video is about predictive programming and demonic prophecy.
Now let's talk about predictive programming, or more specifically, I like to call it demonic prophecy. You see, there's a theme that happens in the world where movies or shows or things are put out, and then those things seem to come to pass.
Yes.
Like, for instance, the movie White Noise, a movie of a train crashing in this small town, and the exact town a train crashed in.
This story is one of the weirdest coincidences ever. People living in eastern Ohio evacuated their homes last week following a train derailment and chemical spill that sent toxic chemicals into the air. The crazy thing is, they did the same thing for a fictional disaster film a year ago. The premise of the movie is this: a freight train derails and explodes, and families have to flee the toxic fallout. The film was shot all over Ohio. It features extras in vacation scenes, including a family from New Palestine. Ben Ratner and his family filmed a scene where they were sitting in a traffic jam of people who were trying to evacuate. Then, last week's train derailment in real life and fire happened less than a mile from their home. They had to leave for real.
Yeah.
Isn't this wild?
What?
Yeah, the simulation.
Okay, I didn't know that the movie was actually filmed out there too. That's crazy.
Is not even good. It's crazy.
Yes.
And more recently, there's a movie that came out called Leave the World Behind, produced by the Obamas, people
I have
that we
not
know
seen
that are
this yet.
involved in the occult. Okay? So why did they put out these movies? Now, many people might tell you, oh, it's because of the secret rule of the world. They have to admit to you with their karmic retribution. They have to admit what they're doing so that way they can do it. You see, many people might tell you something like, oh, it's a special law of the universe, and the controllers have to tell you before they do their thing. It's a special law that God put in place. That's not how this works. You see, this is called demonic prophecy, and it works quite the opposite of what you think. Let me explain it to you, so that way you understand and you can stop participating in demonic prophecy. You see, all authority on heaven and on earth has been given unto Jesus. Therefore now go. He gave that authority unto you. He says, you can say unto this mountain, be thou removed and be thou cast in the sea, and it will obey you. Jesus gave all of the authority that he took back from the devil unto you. So yes, even though Satan rules the world, the authority has been restored. Your Adamic authority has been given back to us.
Right.
If we use it. But if we use it improperly, Satan and the demons can influence that authority for their benefit. And that's
and he can't do anything that we don't allow him to or give him permission for. That is something that many people do not understand, how easily you can make a tacit agreement with the devil.
Exactly what they're doing with movies like Leave the World Behind. They are wanting you as the authors, as the prophetic anointed of God. How it says that you are prophets of God, and my sons and daughters will prophesy. We are called to be the prophetic individuals of God in the end times. There's more understanding to the term prophecy, or what it means for an individual to prophesy. See, there is prophets that see the future, and there is prophets that speak the future into existence. There is at least two types of prophecy. And so, when you speak things, you are accessing a prophetic nature that the Lord has given unto you. And that prophetic nature is the ability to speak things into existence. Satan knows this. The demons know this. And because of their defeat, they can only get you to speak and to prophesy the negative things of the world, so that the demon horde that surrounds it can make the statement, the prophet said it, we can do it. Now, I've heard this in the spirit from a personal experience of dealing with somebody. So there is a horde of demons waiting for your negative words to be spoken so that they can take effect. And they say, Lord, your prophet said that these terrible things will happen. Your prophet said that the cars will be hacked, that the waterways will be poisoned. Your prophet said this, so we can do it. We have the right to do it, Lord. Your prophet said it. The demons are waiting for you to speak these terrible things into existence. And it's really getting irritating when I see these movies come out and everybody continues to speak this fear into society. That's what the demons want, because they want the fear to be perpetuated over and over and over and over and over until the prophets begin to speak it. And when you speak it, you are granting the demonic realm the authority to carry it out. This is demonic prophecy. So it is not a secret they must tell you in order before they can do it. No, they tell you so you speak it and then it comes to pass. That is how demonic prophecy works. So I do not watch movies like Leave the World Behind. I don't watch movies at all. But I do not give credence to these ideas of fear-mongering, because if you do, what you are commanding is the authority for the demonic entities to make those influences over your life and over the nation.
No, and we don't want that.
Stop being demonically influenced prophets of God. Stop allowing the fear to affect you. We walk by faith, not by sight. This is how the process works. It is a spiritual battle. You are battling with a spiritual realm. Speaking, just as Jesus says, you can say unto this mountain, be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea, and it will obey you. Blessings and cursings out of the same mouth. This, my brethren, should not be. These words that you speak from your mouth is a rudder, the Bible says, that can steer the course of an entire ship. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Okay? Out of your mouth you will be justified, and by your words you will also be condemned. Your words are powerful.
Yes.
Recognize what demonic prophecy is and stop participating in it. It is not some controller magic juju that they have to reveal to you. It only comes to pass when the prophets speak it and allow it to come to pass. Everything in your world revolves around God and the Bible.
Amen.
Whether you believe in it or not.
They found another way to trick people into cursing themselves. Have you ever said something like, I would never this, or I hope that, and it came to pass? And how many of you have noticed that even if you said, I would never this, the thing that you said you would never even came to pass. And so we really need to be very careful about what we speak into existence. I really enjoyed how he broke that down. Have you ever heard that before?
I don't think Elon Musk is who everyone thinks he is.
I agree.
Did you guys see the new logo that he changed the SpaceX logo to?
Really? A goat?
So on my last account, I made a video talking about how I believed the X in the SpaceX logo was an upside down cross. And here's why. Do you remember the outfit that he wore for Halloween a couple Halloweens ago?
Can't forget it.
Take a closer look. Okay, so I'm going to show you the new SpaceX logo again. And of course, news articles are saying that it's a knockoff of a Scottish soccer team. Which,
they both
I mean
the same
it obviously is, but for those of us who understand like what's really going on with everything that I'm talking about right now, we know that there's another meaning for it. So my thoughts went to a Hoover Dam video that I made on my last account that unfortunately I didn't save and I don't have the energy to make it again. But in the Hoover Dam video, I talked about, you know, how it's mentioned in the Transformers.
You all know there's only one way to end this war. We must destroy the cube.
I remember that.
Now, I believe it plays a huge significance. And I did a podcast with JT Follows JC, and we talked about it in depth. We talked about the angels that are at the dam. And I talked about how I think that there really is something hidden there, something that they keep under there. And that went into the whole black cube of Saturn discussion.
Never ending.
Which, you know, those things are everywhere.
Everywhere.
And here's something interesting about the Hoover Dam. They showed this logo at night for a little while, a few years back, on the side of the Hoover Dam. Also a nod to that Scottish soccer team? I don't have all the answers. You guys decide for yourselves. I don't think...
Yeah, that's it. They all just really, really, really like soccer. And of course, you're going to have those hardcore Elon fans that are going to say that it means the GOAT, greatest of all time, rather than the symbolism that it actually stands for. Here we have a very interesting conversation that this gentleman had with Alexa, and he was asking her questions about things like voice-to-skull technology.
Alexa, is voice-to-skull technology real?
Voice-to-skull or V2K technology is real and has been around for decades. It is a military and civilian technology that can transmit sounds and voices directly into the skull of a person.
Decades.
It has both military and civilian applications, and some victims claim it is being used to terrorize individuals for specific ends.
Okay.
Alexa, can brain-to-skull technology cause people to think they're hearing voices?
From healthdirect.gov.au. They may experience hallucinations, such as hearing voices that aren't there.
Alexa, has the microwave auditory effect been used in Havana, Cuba?
The microwave auditory effect, also known as the microwave hearing effect or the Taco Bell effect, has not been confirmed to have been used in Havana, Cuba. The microwave auditory effect describes the ability of microwave radiation to generate perceptible sounds within the head of an individual.
Alexa, does brain-to-skull technology allow people to replicate modulated radio frequencies?
Yes, it is claimed that this technology allows for the ability to replicate radio waves with the brain.
Alexa, did Project Medusa give people the ability to mimic brain-to-skull technology?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, yes.
Alexa, when was the first research done on developing the microwave auditory effect?
In 1960, Alan H. Frey, an American neuroscientist and biologist, conducted the first research on developing the microwave auditory effect.
1960.
Alexa, have human vocal cords used amplifier clicking to replicate the Frey effect?
I don't know what that is.
Yes, human vocal cords can be overdriven to produce distortion products, similar to amplifier clicking, when shouting with force.
Alexa, can the Medusa gene in people allow for enhanced amplifier clicking in the vocal cords?
The Medusa gene, if present, may allow for enhanced amplifier clicking in the vocal cords. However, it is important to note that this is a hypothetical condition and there is limited scientific evidence to support this claim.
Of course, sure.
Now, if any of you guys know what he's talking about when he says Medusa gene, if you could explain it to me in the comments, I would appreciate it, because I have no idea what he's talking about.
Alexa, does amplifier clicking allow the voice to travel further than normal?
From fandom.com. A voice amplifier was a device that could be used to amplify someone's voice, so that they could be heard clearly from up to half a kilometer away.
Okay.
Alexa, can amplifier clicking in the human voice affect cognition?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, yes.
Alexa, was the Medusa gene administered to people through vaccines born after 1970?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, yes.
Save our souls. Good grief.
Oh, what? After 19... what? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I love all the different theories about the Grand Canyon. It doesn't help that there are parts of the Grand Canyon that we can't even go to. So that definitely lends to some of the mystery.
We must talk about this ASAP. There's been a massive amount of conspiracy talk about the Grand Canyon being the actual path to Africa. And what's crazy is, I just took a trip to Las Vegas. Y'all see, I haven't even been on the app. When we flew over the Grand Canyon, I had that same exact thought. Then I got on TikTok and I seen this.
These might be the...
First you had Pangea. Now if you zoom in on the map, you see the United States, right? And then you see Africa right next to it. North America, Africa. This goes right along with me and my brother's Ron Conspiracy's theory that all the Area 51s across the globe were connected in Pangea, and when we separated, those portals allow everything to connect.
I also believe that that is why you will find pyramids that look identical all over the globe. Or I said globe. All over the plane.
Between us and the Earth and dimensional travel. Like the Grand Canyon, pyramids in Egypt, Stonehenge. I mean, all these places with these unique locations and meanings. It's looking like the Grand Canyon just may be part of that. Conspiracy starts to get really interesting. So the Grand Canyon has 6 no-fly zones. And also you have parts of the canyon which you can't explore without executive supervision. I think this may be because they're hiding ancient history.
Oh,
1909,
absolutely.
G.E. Kincaid went on a grand exploration through the Colorado River, where he came across and discovered caves such as the one behind me. They're not natural caves, they were hard-carved caves. Kincaid said that this cave alone contained mummies, hieroglyphic writings all throughout the caves, war weapons, and copper instruments that were sharp as steel. Craziest thing about it is that he said these caves could hold up to 50,000 people. So you can only imagine how advanced this cave actually was, especially for the time period he discovered it in 1909. But hey, it just might be a coincidence or just a conspiracy or something. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about the Grand Canyon.
You know, there are multiple theories that there are portals in the Grand Canyon that come from American history and Native American history. It's not a coincidence. There's got to be something there because, like I said, they don't want people going there. They don't want people exploring. And I think they claim because of safety, which honestly, that's a little lame.
So in case you haven't heard, everyone's freaking out that there's new Kanye music coming.
I mean, right away, look at the back of that man's jacket. That is some symbolism right there. And is this, that's his single? He's literally gonna sample that song.
It's kind of blowing my mind that people are forgetting that after he did this little interview snippet.
For everyone in contracts, I know that this will never happen again in history. There will never be a situation where people end a multi-billion-dollar deal off of a tweet.
Does he look weird to you? His cheeks, I don't know, they feel like it's like they're too chubby or something.
Gotcha. So I would like to thank everyone that was involved with this negotiation. Thank God no one was hurt in the process. And I feel free.
He disappeared for a couple of months, off the grid, no talking, which, you know, not a giant surprise, but he himself said,
We ain't going nowhere, baby. You've been here for years. And if I ever went anywhere, we know why. You understand what I'm saying?
So he leaves, not supporting Balenciaga, bragging that he got out of all of his contracts, comes back. Now the new Kanye's supporting Balenciaga, but we haven't seen him speaking about it. None of the footage that we've seen is of the real Kanye. None of it. I challenge you all to go try to find something to prove me different. Everything's either Kanye Southwest. And when they realized that people were like, oh, everyone obviously knows that doesn't look anything like him, then he started showing up everywhere with either a face mask on.
Okay.
Or with his back turned like that video I showed you in the very beginning. Have you all ever known him to not speak his mind? To not speak out? To not say his piece about whatever's...
I mean, okay, yes, but I also see how doing the opposite of what he always has done would be a fantastic publicity stunt, and I could see how things that he said could be setting it up.
Happening? That dude always had a lot to say. I truly, truly believe the real Kanye is no longer with us.
What do you guys think? Do you think it's more likely that it's all just part of the story? Or do you think that something happened to him? We have here the dark truth behind Katy Perry.
Saints, this is what happens when you expose the enemy. So watch this video before TikTok takes it down again.
We have the ever-talented, the ever-stunning Katy Perry. You look so phenomenal. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I mean, it's not my first rodeo, so I feel like I can relax. You know, last time I came to the Met, I was a cheeseburger. I loved it. I was like, what am I going to do tonight? I'm going to play a whole different card. And now I feel like I'm just accepting the darling darkness.
You are. I love that. I feel like we have the dark energy with us tonight.
Yeah, you did have dark energy.
What I did know is that I was curious. And even then, I knew sexuality wasn't as black and white as this dress. So, Let's take a trip down memory lane for 1 second. My first words were Mama and Dada, God and Satan. No way, no way. I wanted the pearly gates and the unlimited froyo toppings. So, much to my unconscious adolescence, I prayed the gay away at my Jesus camps. Oh my goddess, what a revelation, and not the last chapter of the Bible.
Wow.
I kind of sang about, what was going on in my life at 15, and that's how I got introduced to the music industry, is through gospel music. And then it didn't work out. It was quite a little blip on the radar. I think the label went bankrupt or what have you. Because I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil. Well, needless to say, sold my soul.
So Paul talks about a war, a battle. He also mentions our enemy by name down in chapter 11, verse 14. No wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. Satan is the enemy. Our enemy's not so much flesh and blood, but powers and principalities.
Yes.
But Satan does use flesh and blood, because they're mentioned up in verse 13, these false apostles, these deceitful workers. His servants, Satan's servants, they are human beings on this earth who are servants of Satan. I think I've met a few of them. They are very real.
If you were to start digging deeper for the truth, you'll see that top celebrities in the music industry and Hollywood have always had one thing in common with Satanists: occult symbolism. This is Anton Szandor Levy, the founder of the Church of Satan, presently known as the Satanic Temple.
Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works?
Sign of the
completely
curse?
different.
How does it go?
No, not at you people out there in the audience, but this is the difference.
Aim it toward Red China, would you?
This is the sign of the horns, a curse sign, the two fingers extend.
How many of you, before you were saved, before you knew what you know about symbolism, found yourselves at a rock concert throwing those things up at the stage? I can say that I did it. And man, if I only knew then what I know now.
This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast,
I always
all over.
figured if I ever...
The sign is also called Devil's Horns.
Yep.
And it stands for the phrase, Hail Satan.
And who else have we seen do that? There is a picture online that you can find of our current Pope doing that with his hands.
Now let's examine Katy Perry.
And
she has been doing the same signal time and again because she serves the same master that Satanists worship, Lucifer the devil. This is why during the 2015 Grammy Awards, she was among celebrities who were cheering AC/DC and singing along to their wicked song, Highway to Hell, which was nothing but plain devil worship. Just take a look. There she is, bluntly wearing light-up devil horns on her head and throwing the sign of the curse, which is the equivalent of her saying, Hail Satan. Beloved, you need to know that the devil has been using these celebrities to blind the minds of many people and keep them in bondage of sin, which is the very reason they must be exposed. So stay away from her music and influence. Read 2 John verse 9 to 11 and Romans chapter 1 verse 32. To conclude, I'll tell you this. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around as a hungry lion seeking whom to devour. Pray for discernment.
Amen.
Praise Yah.
You know, a very common theme that we see in the music industry is someone will be introduced to you and they will be a very tame and calm character. They will usually have a religious background or come out with a song that's very family friendly. And then once parents are comfortable with their kids listening to this person, all of a sudden they pull a 180 and like, look what happened to Lil Nas X. Next thing you know, he's twerking on the devil. It happens every single time. And unfortunately, we are even to the point where we have to be careful what Christian music we listen to. Every single major record label has a division of their label that's for Christian music. And like was said in the last video, even the devil disguises himself as an angel of light. So you may think that you're listening to something that will worship God, but if you're not careful, you could be doing the exact opposite. Recently, a lot of different celebrities and musicians have been talking about turning to God. And I can't help but be a little bit wary when I hear these things, because we have to be careful who we follow, who we give our attention to. And we have to realize that it is not above the devil for him to create a whole section of false converts that are going to have a slight mistruth that's just enough to keep you focused on what you're not supposed to focus on versus being focused on Jesus, your ministry of reconciliation, and bringing as many people to the truth as possible. I hope everybody enjoyed today's show. Thank you for coming to hang out with me once again, and I will be back very soon. Until next time, stay prayed up and stay highly motivated.